Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here. Drink a beer and play a game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour podcast.
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 309. Thank you for joining us tonight. Right. How you doing?
Hmm. Uh, Coming off an all weekend sick bender. I feel like I've been on a drinking bender, but I haven't actually drank anything in quite a long time, Jim. Um, Woke up Friday and just had a fever. I haven't had a fever in over a year. I like when I generally get sick, it's usually congestion, headaches, migraines, things like that. But an actual fever, I was like, what the fuck? This is stupid. And then my body hurt. It just all the symptoms of a flu, but not the flu. And then Saturday, had to take our wives to drop them off at their little concert. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling kind of human. Probably helped that I was pumping myself full of Tylenol all day. And then I got back home, started feeling hot again, and my fever reached just a hair under 103. And I was like, all right, this really sucks. And yeah, yesterday tried to relax. Today it took off work. I was just like, let me try and get myself better, but not 100%, but trying to get there, Chambers. So unfortunately, I can't partake in the beer. But before we get into what we are drinking, how you doing, Jimmy Wimmy Pants?
I'm doing good. I had to pick up said wives from said concert. I had a gig of my own on Saturday, and I had the delightful instance where, it's hot as balls when I get down there. We set up 2 songs in, monsoon. And this was an outdoor gig. So we got to watch all the, you know what? I got to give credit to Dolan's Bar, like the guys running Delco Day, because they were quick on putting the sheets and the tarps and the fucking, what's the things you put over yourself to not wet your
Ponchos.
ponchos. Thank you. Can't words today. But putting ponchos all over all the speakers and all that shit. So we basically saved our gear as much as possible. But yeah, a nice like half-hour monsoon. And then the second we stopped there, the sun came out. So, if there's a God out there, I think it was trying to tell us something. But yeah, after that, picked up the wives and had a decently chill weekend. Actually, I have another show in Delco this coming Wednesday. So I'm a little too old for this shit. It's a 10:15 set on a Wednesday night. I'm almost 40 here, Brian. 40-year-olds shouldn't be doing this shit.
Oh,
40-year-olds should be sucking at StarCraft over on my second channel, Jim StarCraft Struggles. But they shouldn't be playing gigs on a Wednesday night to hopefully there's enough local drunks there, Brian, to make it somewhat worth it. There's always the risk of those, late midweek 0 people in the crowd shows. Those are delightful.
Jim, 10:15 on a Wednesday sounds like you guys fucked over somebody and this is them getting back at you.
No, we got to fuck ourselves over because we had an earlier time slot, but because of scheduling complications, we'll say, with some members, we had to push ourselves back. Not to
I
throw
mean,
anyone
at
under the bus.
I mean, at that point, when do you guys just be like, you know what? Let's push it to a different week.
I mean, we can't. It's not. We're playing with someone, so it's either that or you just like bail on the show.
Ah,
And it's
okay.
this band called Morning in May, who like I think they're on the Warp Tour this year. I guess it's second stage band, but we're like,
Hmm.
oh, they have some kind of hype going around them, so might as well hop on this show if we can.
So, oh man, I don't know a bar that I can think of back in the day when we were drinking all the time that you'd be like, we need to go see a band at 10:15 on a Wednesday.
Right. I can tell you firsthand that we never did that when we were going to bars and younger and single.
I mean, actually, I would have said you would have had a case stronger if it was a college town bar and it
Right.
was when school was in, but that's not the case here, Jim. It's at the beginning of summer when everyone's on vacation and yeah.
It's not a college town either, Brian.
Well, you did say Delco, so I'm sorry to hear that, Jim. So the real question is, what are you doing tonight on Monday night to help drink away your pain for the upcoming gig?
Well, Bryce, starting off tonight, I'm drinking from the Obscura Brewing Company out of Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey. Nice and local. It is their Kettle Sour with raspberry. It is their Berry Blur, 4.7% alcohol, and Yeah, nothing written on there, but you know what? It's a nice can design here. Nice. It's got the raspberries on there, straight to the point. Has the logo for the company. I like it. Doesn't go too far over the top, but it's not that minimalist bullshit. As far as the beer goes, it almost kind of looks like a bit of a hazy IPA from the outside. If you didn't know what you were like getting yourself into, but nice subtle tart aroma to it, and the flavor. The first like sip or two definitely hits you hard with the tart, but then it kind of mellows itself out. So it's a nice little sipper. And then eventually I'll
Jim,
probably move on to my Coors Light or whatever bullshit I have.
the real question is, we at some point we had the no IPA maze. Do we got to pick a month to have you abstain from sobers or from sours?
Right. I always abstain from sobers. That's nothing for me. But yeah, no, I can abstain. Actually, I was gonna have some. I had like half case of Founders all day IPAs. I was gonna break that out tonight, but I had some
Mm.
yesterday, and Bri, I discovered a nice, delightful surprise. At some point between winter and now, it must have frozen. So,
Oh,
uh huh. So I'm sitting there. My neighbor buddy, he came over, helped me move some crap. I was like, hey, let's have a beer, relax before you have to go back to the family. We crack these beers open, and they just start spraying the fuck everywhere. And he's like, what? At first, he's like, what the fuck? Did you just like, play a prank on me? And then he looked over at me, and I had the same thing going on, just pants covered in beer and shit like that. So they weren't frozen at all. You would have never been able to tell. The cans didn't even have that weird, like, kind of, how it can dent itself a little bit. It's like extra
yeah.
flimsy. None of that going on. It just,
Yeah, without the can changing, it's very odd for that to happen in a can.
yeah. And they're not like super shaken up or anything. They've been sitting still until I put them in the fridge for months.
That's crazy. The joys of the old beer.
Everything's a surprise, Brian. Every day's a blessing. Right. I tried. I
Ah,
tried to not have the sour tonight, but it had to pull me back in. Much,
all
much
right.
like the rain, Bry. It was the ones on high. Tell me, just stick to your lane.
Well, I'm trying to be responsible. Ooh, and speaking of drinking, yeah, I do want to get to it. But before I do, yeah, tonight I am taking it easy because I did just load up on some more Tylenol. I'm just sticking with my LaCroix Chambers. It's kind of my go-to. I don't drink soda, except for I said certain foods I will drink soda. It's really water, coffee, alcohol, and something like this. That I just found that these like satisfy that like I need something kind of carbonated or
Mm.
bubbly, and they do the job. So yeah, I'm just sticking with that. All I've been drinking is just straight water and a lot of liquid IV. Fun fact, I didn't realize you're only supposed to drink one of those a day, which
Yeah,
I don't know if that's like a real thing. Like I don't see anything in it. I'm like, I know it's high in sodium. That's the whole point. It's electrolytes, but I'm also
that's
like,
that's that's bitch shit. Just do it.
yeah. Oh no, I took plenty and I'm like, huh, I'm on my like third pack today. I don't know if I should be, but here we are. Um yeah, so Thursday actually I stayed after work for a happy hour downtown. Went to the do you know the new beer garden where the Liberty Bell is? Like in that park that opened up?
Is there a new one? Because there is one at like one of
There
the skyscrapers right next to it.
right next to it, not that one. So literally across the street,
We have
in
doing
the
beer gardens
park,
down there now.
apparently. So some people from my work set it up, went in there. Um, First, it's like they only had two drinks offered as the special. It was a Hell's Lager.
Okay.
I don't even know the brewery. It just said Hell's Lager. So I'm like, okay. Um, and then a hibiscus blackberry lemonade or something like that, right? And in the moment, I was legit like, I was like, what the fuck's a hibiscus? Isn't that like a flower? Like, I don't know if I've ever tasted hibiscus. All it is really, it's like strawberry, raspberry, whatever flavor it was, vodka lemonade with hibiscus flavoring in it. Somebody, Jim, I wanted to hit him because of you. Like, I asked this guy who I know kind of, but not that well. I was like, oh, like, what is it? He's like, oh, it's like, it's okay. It's a little sugary, but it's really refreshing in the summer. And I was like, God damn it.
Spirit animal.
Mi- So it was the same price as a beer, $5. And I was like, you know what? Let me start with that because at least it'll be stronger than the beer. All me and all the dudes I usually talk with, we all got it and we all agreed. One and done. What the fuck? Way too sweet, way too whatever. But you had those people. I went, oh, it's so refreshing. And I'm like,
I
God,
bet it was. I bet I would find
God.
it delightful.
I tell you what, you wouldn't find delightful there, Jim. I don't know who had control of the music, but it was. I felt I've never been in a hookah bar, but I can only imagine this is a soundtrack that would go on in it. It was a lot of nonverbal chanting over various types of drums and instruments that I'm not familiar with. That's the best way I'm going to describe it.
You either that or you're gonna have house music at a hookah bar.
Yeah, I almost kind of wish I would have had house music, Jim. This
Oh,
was
I bet you
rough.
would. Yeah, that seems to be a weird thing to have at a beer garden. Like I get it's maybe trying to be more chill, but yeah, odd. It's
Very odd.
like you could put
So
on some like Toto. Toto would be fine. Could have
Toto
done
would be
that.
amazing. I would have killed for Toto Chambers. But I had one of those and I think only three, maybe four beers, right? For me, you know me, that's not very much alcohol. So I had all that, and I'm just bringing this up because, like, when I woke up Friday and I said, I really don't feel good. Like, I didn't go to bed feeling weird. I'm like, that can't be a hangover. Like, I knew I was feeling off. I was like, what the fuck? And then the fever locked in, and yeah, but I just that beer garden situation pissed me off because someone said refreshing because it reminded me of you, and don't play weird music. It's two rules I have, Jim. I don't have many rules. Don't do that.
Right, between that and the music, I think I love this place and I've never even been there.
You would not love the prices if they're not happy hour prices. I'll tell you that. You would be the type that would walk away. Like you'd probably be like right away, like, no, I can't even have one drink here.
Oh, that bad, huh?
Jim, it's not as bad as that rooftop bar.
That did me so dirty. All right, no birthdays at the beer garden.
Oh, but Chambers, real question. What have you been up to playing wise this past week?
Hey, Brian, remember I could have basically bought a Switch too with what I spent at that rooftop bar that night. What a night that was.
You actually uh
I was almost
I mean
there.
with tip, you probably could have bought us. You actually what's the Switch to? 500?
450.
Oh yeah, you were there.
I was like three-ish. I was like four-ish. I was shy of four. Like $3 shy of four.
I'm saying you were at four basically, and
I
then
mean, when you're that far in, why not just jump in for the rest?
I mean, come on, that's one more appetizer there.
But yes, for what I have been gaming, speaking of Switch, I've been playing a lot more Prince of Persia, Lost Crown on my pauper regular Switch. And you know what? It's fun. It's you know what? It's a way different kind of Metroidvania than I've been used to lately because a lot of them, you'll have the rooms with a shit ton of enemies or it'll throw, some kind of crazy bullshit at you or it's very cryptic. This is kind of none of those things. It leans way more into the platforming side of things, which makes sense. It's a Prince of Persia game, but it still has some like good fluid combat to it. So it's got like a nice balance so far. I'm like 5.5 hours in, and according to my save file, 20% through. So it'll be a 25 to 30 hour game, I guess 100%, but I'll be happy to not 100% this. It's fine. I don't care. But no, so far it's good. It's nice to have like a Metroidvania where I'm not banging my head against a wall going, what the hell do I do next? I'm sure some people probably complain that it could be handholdy because like it's very obvious once you get an item where to go with it. And at the very worst, there's like a character who shows up here and there who you can buy hints off of too. So, it's definitely it's not it's all around good. It's not for the hardcores, I'll say. And besides that, like I played a tiny bit of StarCraft. I took a little bit of a mental break from X-Men. I'm going to go back this week and finally be able to beat that fucking gauntlet of a final level. I just needed a little break. This week I'll get good, Bry. I'll get good and I'll finish that bitch off. That's the plan.
Okay,
What about you?
okay. Continuing with Legend. So here's the deal. I can't imagine I'm the only guy that feels this way. There's one part of me that
Two
obviously,
fingers feels great. I'm sure you're not.
what's your mother talking again?
Probably. Goddess
um,
Jezebel.
I there's a part of me that almost enjoys the prospect of. I'm sick, so I'll have time to game. But then when I was sick, like I was sick, I didn't even have the energy to do that. I was like, this really fucking sucks. Like it's the worst kind of sick. But I have managed to get some time in with the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So where I last left off was, I'm still Kid Link. I was like doing collectibles. So I finished all the collectibles that I was willing to do. It doesn't mean I got them all, but I was like, all right, I've revisited a lot of things, but I'm like, I'm not going back fucking in Goron Valley for like this one obscure thing so I can hit with a boomerang. No, I'm not doing that. Um, so I've now advanced to Temple of Time, got the Ocarina of Time, converted to, you know, older Link.
Probably you do
Uh,
that by pointing the Master Sword. Stupid. It's a
yeah,
throwback to like Sword in the Stone. Stupid.
I, it
Right?
sure is, Chambers. Um, Jim, I'm going to go ahead and say the developers of Legend of Zelda, at least for that one, they might be a little anti-Semitic the way they made Ganondorf. I'm just going to say
What? Why, Bry?
it. I'm just throwing it out there, Jim.
But Bry is a Gerudo. You'll see the other subtle racism differently later.
Damn it. So yeah, I've already collected a few things with the hook shot, and then I've already started in the Forest Temple, and I'm pretty deep in there. I didn't hit the first sub boss, but I'm a couple layers into the forest. I'll tell you what, those fucking moblins when you're trying to go through the maze, that if they
Oh
detect you,
yeah.
they just charge you. Um What I keep forgetting is like, okay, something like a boomerang or a hook shot, like that's always going to double as a weapon. The amount of times I tried to sneak up on those fuckers and hit them with the sword and got turned around and hit, I was like, Jesus Christ. As soon as you figure a hook shot, it's almost cheap how easy they die. But yeah, I'm continuing on with that. And that's kind of all I've been able to do gaming wise. Like it's only been a few hours, but I'm I told you before, I'm committed. I'm gonna finish it off. You'll finally get your game back. Real question I have for you is,
3 years in the making.
do you think you'll ever actually play that again in your life?
Probably not. I'd probably pop it in if someone like came over and wanted to play it. Because at any time I've really popped it in the last couple of years has been because of that.
Hmm. Like, do you think you'd be more likely on the? I think it's available on the N64 expansion online shit in the revised version or remade. What was that version they made? The remaster,
They
HD,
did an HD
whatever.
remaster on the 3DS. That's where they did that. I don't know if
But
that
then
ever
they
came.
brought it back to the Switch because that was the big thing, right? We
Did they ever
talked
put
about
it
a
on
few
there?
years ago.
Let me see here. Yeah, it turns out, yeah, it looks like it is on Switch Online. All right.
So that's the thing. Like, if you ever got the hankering to play it, do you think you would just go that route at this point? Or
Oh,
you,
probably. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Did you ever say, I know you enjoyed it, but would you rank that in like your favorite games of all time?
I think when we did the first one on this channel, I think I had it low on there, but I've played way too much since then to be able to really put it on there, probably. I mean, I don't know if I went back and played it again, if it would just be like, that's the good nostalgic stuff. I don't
All
know,
the
to be honest with you.
nostalgia. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be a nostalgia overload playing through it again, that's for damn sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna get through it. So dedicate it. That's what I'm gonna get through, and trying not to game too much outside of that to distract myself. But Chambers, we say it every week.
Brian, I think it looks like it's coming to Switch Online. So I don't think it was there yet.
I
Or maybe it
swear it
is.
was. I'm almost positive it
Oh,
was because
maybe it is. Maybe I'm stupid. Okay.
yeah, because I almost considered trying to go that route to play it, but I was like, no, let me do it on the N. Especially since you had it, I was like, let me do it on the N64, the quote unquote right way. So,
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people were kind of bitching that it plays like crap unless you use an N64, like the Switch N64 controller, which I
mm,
think I have one and I've never used. So that's good. It's a good investment. But
that
yeah,
sounds right.
sounds about right for me. More more slop and junk for the junk lord, Brian.
But Jim, we've talked about it many times. As soon as I am done that, all focus will probably then go into my take at beating X-Men 2, and then right into Max Payne. And we're doing that because of our awesome patrons, and that is the request we have in the lineup. So, Chambers, what questions we have this week?
Over at patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. Wow, we had synchronized burps there, Bry. How cute.
Mine was a cough.
Coughing up that cummies. That's what you're doing over there.
Damn
So,
it.
the only question we have this week is it's the second dilemma from good old Randy from last week. So, good thing he loaded us up. I think posting a Krusty Corner threw off everyone's like, oh, go to the page, see what's there. Oh, Krusty Corner's there. Oh, yeah, check the link to this week's. I don't know when you're uploading this episode, Brian. But yes, from Randy of the Rich Dickman Show. A new brewery in town opens up and it has your favorite beers ever. But there's a catch. Every beer is free if you live stream yourself playing the worst reviewed licensed video game every Friday for 6 hours straight with no commentary, just a camera on you and your pain. Do you sell your gamer's soul for unlimited beer and humiliation, or pay full price like a chump and keep your dignity?
Okay, I like this time it was
I,
actualized.
I went in and did a little pre-editing, Bry. I
Okay,
did a little
okay.
homework here.
All right, so to get my favorite beer of all time for free for life, I need to every Friday stream for 6 hours the worst license game I've ever played or that just exists.
Basically, it can just be a rotating thing. So like Wayne Gretzky,
Oh,
Superman,
just go
other
through
ones,
all of
yeah.
them. Okay. Ooh, shit.
And you got to do it. It's got to be Friday, and it's got to be at least 6 hours.
Ooh, ooh. You know what? I'm okay paying for my beer. You would have to, you know, I, Jim, you know me. I love my hypotheticals. You can say what you want about me. I'm a son of a bitch. But you know, I always made them so sweet that sometimes you're like, fuck, do I really do the bad thing? I think he needs to work on sweetening the pot because just having free beer, that ain't gonna be enough to cover it for me. I'll pay for my beers. 6 hours, man, that sucks. That would be soul
All right.
draining.
So I'm the one who put in the time limit there. So at first I put 5 hours, and I was like, that might be too easy to put you the other way. Would that change your mind?
Honestly, it would have to play basically what I would consider the worst games ever. And now I have to dedicate myself to doing that every Friday night. Three is probably where I'd top out
All right.
because I'd basically be saying, especially come on, at our age, 3 hours on a Friday night, that's my night on Friday.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm like, but cool, I can get my favorite beer for free. It would be really, really tough. I mean, what about you? What hour amount would be enough for you to take that deal?
Oh, zero, because my wife would chop my nuts off if I lost every single Friday night to playing a video game just for some beer.
But think about your budget increase by how much beer you don't have to buy.
Right? My balls. Look, they
But
may be snipped, but I at least need
Jim,
them dangling there, all right? I at least
but
need the
Jim,
appearance.
Jim, that's your escape from her.
Is it really that pleasurable of an escape, Brian?
Yes.
I, I officially disavow this statement. I would never agree to anything like this.
Yeah. That's a really, like I said, I like the thought behind this one, but
Not
it's
feasible. I
tough.
think if it was like a Saturday morning, maybe I could make that work. It's the time
I
that's
mean,
really the killer.
if you
Even the
just did
hours
it
aren't that
Friday,
bad.
if you did it Friday when she went to sleep, you could do it.
Man, then I'm up until like 4 in the morning every single fucking Saturday playing some horse shit. Hmm.
Yeah. The good
Some
old
tough.
days.
That is the good old days. But Brian, it wasn't horse shit I was playing. And if it was horse shit, it was horse shit of my choosing. It's different. But yeah, even
Mm.
if I didn't have the wife and family factor in there, Ugh, you know what? If I didn't have the wife and family factor, I might go for it because what the fuck else do I have going on at that point? I might as well save me some dollars. I
Jim,
might as
that
well live
would
like a king.
basically be that you're basically sponsored by your favorite brewery at that point.
It would. Yeah, you know it. So it's got to be if I was single, single Jimmy would hop on that. Current family Jimmy, unfortunately, out of the question.
He's not allowed.
I mean, it's not entirely wrong.
I like the question though. Good work, Randy.
Yep. How's it going? So once again, thank you to everyone out there for the support over on Patreon. Like I mentioned, go check it out over there. We have a new Krusty Corner from last week's episode where we discuss the censorship in the Onimusha 2 HD remake or remaster, whatever the hell it was. And also check out all the different tiers for the video game review requests, movie review requests, bonus episodes, bonus content, all that good stuff. And speaking of support, check us out on YouTube, Apple, or Podbean. Likes, comments, subscribes, shares, anything you can do can and will help the page. And while you're helping, don't just help us, but help out some of our buddies. Bri, actually got contacted by our good friend Longy Long. Someone used our code over at ghettogamer.net. Use our code DBPG to get 20% off an order. And then so good work out there, people. Keep it up. He's a good brother. And then also head on over to Skillshare. Learn you a skill. Learn you some history. Learn you whatever the fuck you want. At Skillshare, use our code DBPG30. Get 30% off 1 year of a class. So, you know what? Some good deals out there and maybe learn something for once. God knows I should.
No, hell yeah. Make sure support them, support yourself with Skillshare. As I said, it is a great spot if you want to start with a good collection. You don't want to get ripped off. Go with Ghetto Gamer, Skillshare. I mentioned multiple times. If I could just find the goddamn time, maybe 6 hours on a Friday night, I could learn a new skill. We'll
Maybe.
see.
Gotta talk to people at Skillshare. Hey, how about a different kind of deal? Ah,
But
ah.
guys, thank you for the continued support. Truly, truly appreciate it.
And speaking of support, we'll just get this out of the way real fast. Good
Mm-hmm.
buddy, a good fan of the show, longtime fun. Lucas Hackett, Bry, he did his magic again, once again in WWE 2K, and he made another one of his simulated matches featuring us. Last time he did it, it was me versus you, but this time we had some time tag team action, Bry, and he
We
had us
sure did.
going against good old Pat and Dan of Console Wars.
So when I first saw that, I was like, I think you and I probably had the same thing. I'm like, I just need to see who wins before I can figure out how angry I'm gonna get.
Right, let's not spoil it for the people, but
I'm not. I mean, your tweets may have spoiled it.
oh yeah, possibly. Oops.
um, what I'll say in the match, because we've talked about his creations of us before, so I love it. It's very trippy to me for us to be in anything. So Lucas, always appreciate it. Um, I think we both probably had the same takeaway, but there's a lot of that match where I'm like, man, I just keep getting my ass whooped, and Jim's just standing there. He's not even helping interrupting the pins.
Hey, I'm getting my ass kicked more than you are. I'm taking all the goddamn Ricky Morton heat over here. It's
I
ridiculous.
mean, I
You're
mean,
getting the
by
hot
the
tags.
but are you kidding me? By the end of the match, if you look, my body actually, I didn't realize in these games they start showing the damage. I'm like red and bruised and all this. You're fine. There's
That's just
nothing
you and
on
your
you.
stupid Irish Mick bullshit. You fucking flick you and you're like all red and bloody.
um, you know what, Jim? I'll say spoiler for the match because I got to point out I do all the hard work and I just tag you in and you just have to get the guy who's already laying on the ground and do two finishers to him and then you just get the pin. Bullshit.
Look,
That
Bryce,
you know what?
sometimes
Jim, it's like everything. I'm doing all the hard work, and Jim's like, I'm like Kramer. I'm just gonna walk into this.
look, Bry. Look, sometimes you need a closer, all right? All the great baseball teams have a closer. Some, the plebs can do all the hard work, but you need that shutdown guy to come in and just lock it down, Bry. And that's what I am.
I'm just mad at my virtual self. Like he was already down. He was already out. Why did I even need to tag you at that point?
You knew you weren't worthy. You didn't deserve it.
You son of a bitch.
You know what? This is a job for daddy. That's what you said, and that's why you called him on.
Listen, we won. That's the more important part of this, you son of a bitch. Console wars, suck it.
I like my leotard.
Jim, when if Dan is able to come out at Too Many Games Friday night, do which move do we do to him?
Ooh,
Which double team move? I mean, the choke slam's always a classic, double choke slam.
it's a good one.
We could do the
Do it.
3D.
3D would be not too bad to pull off. Do we get like super fancy and try to do like the devastation device?
I don't know that you could do either position, Jim.
What? You
Best
just
case, you can lift them on your shoulders.
I can lift on shoulders. What? I jump off one bed and clothesline. It's not that hard, Brian.
No, you got to go up 3 beds at least.
We don't have three beds.
You find it, we find it.
All right, love finds a way. Fine.
Because somehow you screw up the clothesline, you land on me. You know, you mess that up.
I probably wind up breaking my ankle doing that shit. Actually, too old and fat, too broken.
But yeah, we got a link below. He does a lot of different fantasy matchups on his channel. Make sure check him out. He's a guy that has always supported us. So please go over, give him some love, support him, say hi, leave him some comments. So Lucas, you're the man. Wish I could raise a beer for you right now, but thank you.
I'll raise my empty beer, and on that note, I'm going to get some more beer. So, be right back.
Damn. All right, Chambers. So last time we were talking about the Switch 2, it was pre-release, even though the podcast came out a little bit late because Brian got a little sickies. And we were talking about perceived issues. They're bricks. The labeling is going to get confusing. But now the console has been out. People are talking about them. And one issue people are having, Chambers, seems to be stemming from GameStop, specifically in New York. And what issues were they having there, Chambers?
Well, Bri, the Switch 2 is a funny thing, especially with how it is packaged. Some could say it's not packaged in the most protective way ever. It seems like it sits on top of its cardboard right below the front face of the actual box for the system. So what this particular GameStop decided to do was to staple the pre-order receipts onto the units, I guess to make it easier to hand them out to the pre-orders and all that stuff. But there's a problem, Bri. I guess no one was expecting where the Switch was going to sit because Staples punctured multiple Switch screens. So I have a tweet here from Dexerto, but there are other tweets around too with different pictures and different people. And yeah, seems like there is a big old oopsie of a goof at this GameStop. So you can imagine paying for your $450 super hype new console to immediately have it be broken by fuckuppery.
Um, yeah, like I don't want to give either company leeway here. To your point, right away, I was like, I had to dug into this. So I'll be posting multiple photos. One of what Jim's saying, they show how the Switch is actually packed in the just fucking dumbest, just from a purely logistical. The fact that that screen is so close to that top, if something just drops on the top of that cardboard, it could probably fuck up that screen. Like it is so not protected. It's amazing. It's
Yeah, and
fucking
like
terrible.
I get in okay, not particularly in fairness to Nintendo. Lots of companies do it this way where when you open the box, the first thing you see is the system itself. But for the most part, these systems aren't a touchscreen handheld device. So
And most things I've seen with screens, they usually have a layer of foam. They have layers of protection, something more than just the cardboard that
at
it's
the very
in.
least, you'll find like all the manuals on top of it. I think that's how like the Switch 1 came.
Something. Um, the issue I do have with Dexaro, and it's funny because you'll see it very quickly in the comments, but like the pictures they use are terrible because they show where the staple is on the first picture, and then the next one's like, man, it's right in the middle of the screen. Well, it's like, well, no, those are two completely different photos, not from the same guy. Because if you see how they're packed, that actually is not possible. So then you got people calling that out. People mad that a guy called that out because they're like, you're just a Nintendo hater. He's like, no, I just have fucking eyes. He's like, that's not how dimensions work. And people just what killed me with that was if as you just scroll down a little bit more, it's very made very clear, and then they show units damaged in the correct placement. But the Nintendo fanboys that were trying to defend this, like Like, no, that's completely GameStop. They fucked up in the middle of the screen. Da, da, da. Like, Nintendo didn't do anything wrong with their packaging. It's like, no, that's fucking stupid. That being said, GameStop, you fuck up enough games with your stupid stickers. I mean, anywhere that does use games does it, but GameStop was obviously the most notorious. Now you fucking need to staple. Could you not just do a sticky or a piece of tape or I don't know, just hand them the fucking receipt with their system? Like, why did that even need to be a thing at all? I don't understand it.
For once, the company known for awful, annoying stickers didn't use a goddamn sticker, and when they should have. Amazing.
I, I mean, but then here's the deal.
Or
Fucking
just some masking tape that won't damage the box. Is that so
yeah,
hard?
like something like the sticker. I could even see people bitching like the Uber
Oh, they
collecting
would have.
rates.
They would have, because they
Yeah,
would have, ripped some of the shit off their brand new box and crap like that. Like that would have been his whole can of worms. And GameStop probably thought ahead of that.
you know what? There's enough of a gap. You can slide the receipt in this in the little like that little gap where you open it up. You could just slid it right in there. I don't know. There had to be something better. But man, oh man, Chambers, how pissed could you imagine being?
Oh, I'd have lost my
Like,
fucking mind. That's
how
night
many?
ruined after all the hype.
Here's the deal. Like, this is one of those moments you'd probably be so mad because, I mean, I don't know. The chances are, if you're a midnight release, maybe you're willing to go right to your car, open it up, and be excited and just want to look at it. And you might notice it, you go, oh shit. Or maybe you're someone who's like, I'm gonna wait till I get home, get everything like ready, and then you go home. Maybe you live a little far, and there's like nothing you can do, right?
Yep.
Even if you show it to them in the store, there's probably nothing they can do. Like, they're sold out of stock. So is the only remedy here is that they fully pay, like they reimburse you fully for that and just try to expedite you, which probably doesn't do dick, but like you're gonna get a free one eventually when we get a restock. Basically, is all they can do.
Well, yeah, they GameStop has already addressed it basically. So they did a haha tweet basically with Milton saying, "We have addressed a unique case of Staples damaging Switch 2 screens, isolated to one store. Replacements have been offered, staplers have been confiscated." With Milton from Office Space. So, I appreciate it.
Respect it.
I don't know how much the kids out there are going to enjoy the 25-year-old reference, but that being as it may. So yeah, basically replacements have been offered, so that's the real main takeaway from it. So I don't know how they did it or how soon they're going to get them, but hopefully they made it very easy for these people to realize about that. I'm sure, like I know I would have been calling bitching. So
Yeah. Are you ready for all the follow up? Like, man, like I bet this screen wouldn't have taken a staple so bad, or like this, like, oh, all it takes is little staples to fuck up the screen. How weak is this? How shitty is this stuff created? Like, it's crazy because that's one thing that does kind of get to me. I don't know if a staple would have went through like a phone, like damaged. In other words, like maybe left a surface scratch, but if they're saying like it doesn't work,
I don't know.
it
They must have been using fucking like those, big fucking automatic
goes.
staplers. Not like
Hmm.
not a staple gun, but those big mechanical fuckers with the giant handle.
Uh, maybe. Yeah, that's true too. Maybe they just use way too
Because
powerful
that
of
makes
it.
it quick. You just go ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Like you're not just flipping a fucking swing line, in half and,
What are they doing, Jim?
eh, eh, eh. Like when I touch my pecker.
GameStop, you done fucked up. Uh, and this is one case of Dexero. What are they? Are they a journalism, like
They're,
gaming journalism?
yeah, just like a gaming news website. It's like a
Do better.
less, yeah, it's like a less fucking, over the top Kotaku or Polygon or IGN, which I mean, speaking of IGN, apparently they had some fucking presentation. Like there was like Summer Game Fest this past weekend, which, hey, shout out to good friend of the show, Celia Schilling, for being able to present there and hanging out with like Jeff Keighley and fucking Hideo Kojima. That's goddamn awesome.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then there's like IGN had their own IGN Fest and everyone shit on it. Sony had a state of play and everyone kind of shit on it. I mean, a new Resident Evil 9 is announced, so that's cool.
I
But
want to cover that in the next podcast in
yeah, I didn't
better
really watch any
detail.
of these presentations, so I just wanted to give a
I
quick shout out to Celia. Good for her.
Yeah, no, that great job, Celia. Um, but yeah, this next arrow or however you want to say their name, um, you could have just picked a photo that actually lined up with where the staple is. Showing it in the middle did no good. Come on, man, just that little bit of effort of not being complete bullshitty. Do
I
better.
mean, it's what they were sent. It's what they found. It's what they were sent. You tell me. Yeah, we live
No,
in a
no, no,
society, Brian.
no, no, no. What's pointed out is they took they had the sources of multiple pictures and decided to line up two that just
Oh,
didn't
did it
make
match?
sense. Yeah, like you
Oh,
could have picked the one that shows the holes up in the right upper corner where it would have actually lined up. I don't know why they had to pick the one that's dead in the center. Like, come on. This is one easy thing you don't need to fuck up.
so once again, the journos could have done the bare minimum, Brian,
That's all I asked for, Jim. Bare minimum. That's it. Come on.
and that's why we live in the state we live in, Brian.
Well, Jim, let's go on from a catastrophe to something that I didn't know much about. And I'll be honest, I had to do a little bit of research on because I didn't really know what the fuck this thing was. But from comicbook.com and honestly, any gaming source you could probably find, there's a lot of talk right now about the Xbox's new handheld device, which is labeled the ROG Xbox Ally. Um, Chambers, do
Ally?
you know what ROG is?
No, I do not.
So I was like you. I'm like, does that mean something? Is it something for the actual game? It's Republic of Gamers, and it's like an ASUS, ASUS. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like Asus, like they've been making
Yeah,
more
so
high-end
computer.
computer parts forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's their offshoot brand. It's a gaming focused brand of ASUS hardware and software specifically for gamers. And ROG basically develops these allies and these handhelds for other things too. So this
Oh yeah,
isn't
apparently
their
there's a shitload of models out there, and
there is.
yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of they run either like Linux or Windows on them. It's basically kind of a portable gaming PC, but just with a switchy kind of ergonomic setup.
Yeah, and you wouldn't probably know that if the way the this thing is being hailed as like the new Xbox console, like it's being labeled as something as if Xbox is putting it out there. It's like Xbox is teaming with this group to put out this thing, which seems really interesting to Jim's point. Think of it more like a Steam Deck, but yeah, it's a competitor. It's going to be a competitor Switch 2. Um, and essentially, the interesting thing about it is it's going to allow users to natively download and play their Xbox games as well as stream from the cloud. And then, in addition to Xbox, you're also going to have the freedom of Windows. So you'll be able to access other launchers, think Steam and
Even
really
like
anything else.
even fucking BattleNet.
Yeah, so BattleNet's another very specific thing. But
Right,
the
I can
other
play I
part
can
of
play
the
StarCraft on a handheld now. That'll be terrible.
yes, exactly. And the one thing they really are trying to sell you and they keep playing is the fact that they're showing Hollow Knight sequel, Silk Song, when and if it's
Yes.
coming out. It's just like Switch 2, it's like everyone else, but they really are pushing the shit out of it. So it's it's interesting because I think that is insane. If this thing really does allow you to get all your Xbox games, you can get Steam, you can get BattleNet.
And Bry, not only can you play them over the cloud, you can play them natively as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So that's what's insane about it. And I'm like, ooh, like I don't know if Steam Deck. When did Steam Deck come out? Let me look that
I
up.
want to say like 2 years ago now.
Okay. So that thing, I mean, I've still never heard much bad other than the fact, battery or whatever and just price, but
Oh
like
shit, 2022. Wow, it's been that long already? Holy crap.
yeah. So unless there's another Steam Deck coming out, my guess is this will supersede that for sure in theory. Because if you have access to Windows, modders are going to change this and somehow get access to PS Network or whatever. Like this thing is going to be able to play everything. Um, its biggest competition is going to be Switch 2. I'm in no way suggesting it's going to hit Switch 2 numbers, but I think it'll start showing more and more of these modern consoles like Xbox, which we've talked about before. They're talking about one again everyone's going to want to go handheld at some point because Switch showed like that's the model. People want convenience. And while yes, of course you want the ability to sit at a console, you also want to be able to just take it home with you or like take it on the go with you. So this company is obviously very well known for developing software and hardware that can do this. I think the problem with this, Jim, is those ROG Ally models tend to cost between $650 and $800.
Boom!
That's and I don't know anything as far as let me see if I can find any info. Well, what are your thoughts on this while I'm looking up something?
I mean, so I put a tweet down here from Frittata, who basically said Xbox is confirmed to be able to play PlayStation games. So let me get this straight. Sony's old handheld can't play its own games natively, but the Xbox One can. So, I mean, that is kind of funny. Like the PlayStation Portable, not PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Portal. Like it's around. I have a fleeting interest in having one just because I like sitting around with my handheld with my Switch in handheld mode. Like I know I'm in the minority there. I would probably get use out of a PlayStation Portal, but I still don't think it's gonna be worth the money to buy one. Uh, this I'll just put it out there. Like, it's not going to beat the Switch with this fucking price point. It's just not going to
No.
do it. It's not going to beat the Steam Deck either, because Steam Deck's at least a name. Like the ROG allies have been around for a little while now, and it's always been niche. And I think slapping Xbox on there, I don't think it's going to change anything. The one thing I do find interesting about this, though, is I guess that long rumored Xbox Series Z isn't happening because forever people were like they're going back almost like 2022, almost the same time the Steam Deck came out. People started rumoring about Microsoft making its own handheld and calling it the Series Z. And there's been little stories here and there about it, but it's always been kind of in the whispers. And I think anytime something's in the whispers, it probably means they were trying it or someone like, leaked that, hey, this might be coming. And then it probably just never panned out. That's what my theory is. My theory is they tried to make a handheld. It was not working out. So they just said, fuck it. We'll team with something that worked.
So they actually talk about this deep into this article and other things. Um, I think some of the perceived leaks might have actually been this collaboration or working with this. They knew Xbox was working with something to try to create a handheld, and it was termed the Z. And there's even like faked like photos of a little screen on a flip up and all this shit.
Yep.
Um, but like I said, yeah, I don't think once again Xbox is it's not an Xbox product, so I want to be clear on that. Like this is them going to test the waters once again. They're going to get their stuff on as many systems as they can. Why now try to become the ones to create the hardware if this ROG Ally is already kind of a tested and proven platform? Okay, now we're going to bolster it with games that the games will be what make it undeniable. And the best way you do that is offer so much shit out there. Like you're going to be able to play everything under the sun on it. You're like, ooh, like that's the convenience of like, do I get a new console or do I go with something like that and have the convenience? Like that's going to be the tough part, right? Like, I don't know.
And does Xbox kind of go all in on it? Because like the killer app is going to be Silk Song if it comes out, because that's like that game's a meme at this point of like being like a
Hmm.
vaporware kind of never going to happen. People have been clamoring for it. Like Xbox has all the money in the world. If I was them, maybe you just throw a shitload of money at them and be like, "Hey, keep this exclusive to the ally, to this specific ally for 2 years or something like that."
Yeah.
Now, there is going to always be that problem of eventually something's too expensive that it doesn't matter because like
Yeah.
when the HTC Valve was out, what was it? Half-Life Alex was coming out on that thing. It's like the thing to run it. And everyone's like, "Holy shit, a new Half-Life game!" And apparently, it's great, but it really wasn't enough to, still be a super mover for VR because it was too fucking expensive at the time. So, no, eventually you have that law of diminishing returns. So
Hmm.
Xbox or maybe they just make it a loss leader and, another loss leader hardware wise, cut the price from other allies, but then does ROG let them cut the price and undercut them just to have a license on there. So I don't know. To me, it seems like a tough sell. It's cool. It's very cool. Don't get me wrong. But to me, it still kind of seems like a tough sell.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a tough sell. It's a tough ask in this market. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I think this is one of the few hardwares like Steam Deck, excuse me, sparked my interest for a minute. But if you can tell me this thing can run Steam, it can run my Xbox games, it can run BattleNet, it can run
Why ever buy a
all
Steam
that shit.
Deck? Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm just moving on. And I bet it function. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. I'm sure the hardware is gonna be way more impressive than the Switch 2. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so now, like, the only argument I ever had for Switch or Switch 2 was convenience. Other putting aside first party games, convenience of like, yeah, I know I'm not going to play the best version of this game, but I can play it while I'm shitting. So, okay, there you go. If I now have this as an option, I don't know, maybe, but I'm not trying to shell out $800. The price is going to be what makes and breaks it, in my opinion. So we'll keep tracking it, but could be interesting. Could be an interesting little twist.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, I mean, I want to see where it goes. It's something that would be cool to have, but I'm like, dude, I'm not jumping through hoops to buy a fucking Switch 2. Definitely, I'm not buying a $800 handheld at that point either.
Yeah. But Chambers, we've talked a lot about Switch 2 pre-release, now some issues since release. Um, I think it's appropriate as the the hell is her name? My Life in Gaming has
Yes.
made a video basically kind of celebrating the life of the Switch 1, and they did it with just talking through some of their favorites and disappointments over the life of the console.
Some
If we
honorable
kind of
mentions. A beautiful 2 hour video that for me flew by.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think there's a ton of people and there's a ton of games that you could really talk through about the Switch, and everyone probably has a lot to say. I will say between you and I, obviously you have far more experience and put a lot more into the collection. I mean, you can see that whole fucking wall of red behind you.
That's not even all of it.
Um, yeah, I mean, you went balls deep into that. Uh, one thing I'll say is when talking about the Switch, I think the only way to kind of keep it interesting or fair is stick to games that really are only on the Switch. Because if you're talking about a game that could be anywhere, then it's like, well, you probably just like we talked about, you just got it because it was convenient. You didn't get it because it was best optimized on the Switch at the
Yeah,
end of
not
the
best
day.
optimized, but I mean, it could be a thing you like in my life in gaming's video. They put in games like third party games, but it's ones that they played first on the Switch or played mainly on the Switch. So, but I mean, if you want to just go with I don't know, I'll go the other route. If you want to go your route, that's fine. Because I think like you got to
Yeah.
celebrate how it brought all of gaming together in a handheld way, in a good way before almost anything else.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean my takeaway from the
But then
Switch
again, did you ever
was,
play any third party shit on your Switch? Like
oh yeah.
you barely touched. Oh, okay.
No, I did, and I got suckered into a lot of like, oh, like there's some good sales. And even though some of these are games I've played before or have on other consoles, let me do it on the Switch. Um, I never found myself sticking with them on the Switch, is what I'll say. Like they were
Hmm.
fine, but I would find myself more or less frustrated. I mean, before we talk gaming, I've made it very well known. I fucking hate the Joy Cons. I think they're still one of the worst designed things. Um, Even when you put them on the little controller or keep them on the sides, you can use them and they are doable, but it's not for me. You have to get a third party controller, pro controller, whatever else you would use for me to make that more enjoyable or playable. Unless you are playing a game akin to a Slay the Spy or something where it's like control really doesn't matter and you can just do whatever. Um Outside of that, I remember when we first started seeing stuff for Switch, thinking how funny it was. Like, one of the selling points was Skyrim, which at that point you're like, that's already an old ass game. But
I
like,
was already like
okay,
6 years old at that point.
yeah,
Funny enough, it still hangs around.
it still does. Um, but for me personally, like by the time the Switch came out, I never did the Wii, never did the Wii U, and thank God for that. I played
Clap.
enough of the Wii. Like I played the shit out of the Wii. My brother had one. Go to his apartment, play that shit drunk. Um, Always had fun with it, but never a console I needed for any reason. And then the Switch came around, and I was like very kind of on the fence. And what sold me on it was I was having a kid. So it came out March 3rd. I had a kid March 31st of that same exact year. So I was like, you know what? A handheld console. I'm going to be home a lot. I'm probably going to have a lot of times where I'm just sitting next to a sleeping baby. I can put headphones in. And then I was interested in like Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I was interested in Mario Kart because I never really got to experience Mario Kart 8 at the time because I wasn't in the previous consoles. And there was something about Breath of the Wild that like sparked my interest. Like I love Skyrim. I love open world games, and I hadn't touched a Legend of Zelda really almost ever, like except for the very first game. So I was like, you know what, maybe that is a good return for me. So I kind of bought into the hype. I knew a lot of other people I worked with, aside from you and just other folks that like were all about it. So I got excited for it. I got it, and yeah, I can kind of go right into one of my first disappointments was Breath of the Wild. Like maybe it was just my lack of love for Zelda as an entire franchise. Maybe I was expecting the game did automatically feel so different from any other RPG action adventure game of the time. The bullshit with non true map that had any information other than stupid little marks you made on it, the breaking of the weapons, the complete lack of direction on anything to do. I was like, this actually feels more like Minecraft at this point with some action on it. And I'm obviously oversimplifying it. And I know that's kind of the point of the game. Like they kind of purposely wanted you to just fuck around and do anything. Like, yeah, you can make a couple hundred different recipes with all these different variations. Well, test it all out. That game just, I don't know, it bored me to tears. Tried
Tears of the
on
Kingdom,
three,
Brian. Meow, meow,
don't you dare.
meow.
I tried on three different occasions to go back to it. And while I was able to appreciate it more with each playthrough, Um, it wasn't enough to. I haven't yet got a playthrough where it's hooked me. Hoping maybe Ocarina of Time. If I beat that and I'm like, oh shit, this is it. It might do it. I will say, since Tears of the Kingdom, just physics mechanics of building crazy shit would be way more up my alley. And from everyone who's ever played it, putting story aside, they're like, yeah, it's just a better version of Breath of the Wild, basically. I feel like I might even like that more, but the completionist in me can't stop myself from being like, I at least got beat through Breath of the Wild before I start Tears of the Kingdom. So that was a bit of a disappointment. It kind of tanked my expectations on it. The other disappointment I'll get out of the way right now is um the online stuff, like the Super NES and NES online and the free games and stuff, because that sold me right away too. I was like, oh, fuck. Super cheap price point. I can go play some old classics. And they had some decent games on there, but I couldn't find myself to stick with it. And a lot of the times I looked at it like the mobility was being able to play those NES and Super NES classics on the go was the selling point, and I fucking hated that control so much. Like it just took away from the game's fun factors for me, where I beat all of Super Metroid through the Switch, but hooked up to my TV with a pro controller or a third party controller because I just couldn't stand doing it on the go that much. Doesn't mean I didn't do it sometimes, but still, like, I don't know, that wore off pretty quickly. And then the number of dog shit games they offered in those services too. I'm like, come on, man. The value goes out the window kind of fast.
Right, so much
That's,
Jalico.
I mean, so before I touch on my favorites, what were some disappointments from you, Chambers, from the
Uh,
Switch?
all right, so I have a couple that are exclusive and non-exclusive. So let's get into it. Exclusive wise, Astral Chain. That seems to be a game that a lot of people hype up on the Switch, and I just kind of found it to be a clunky mess. So like the real like the gimmick of the game, because it's by Platinum Games and they always throw some kind of fucking gimmick in. And it's like you have to wrap your chain around enemies and manipulate them with your chains to do stuff. And yeah, it never grabbed me. I was always just like, can I just have the combat without doing this bull crap? And it was also so much goddamn dialogue, but that's a whole different can of worms. But just the main gameplay gimmick, it's like, it's fine. Uh, what else? New Pokemon Snap. I barely touched the original one on the N64. Everyone seems to love it. And I saw the new one and I was like, cool. Looks like more of the same. And I played it and it just bored the ever living fuck out of me. I beat it for 23 and 23, but I almost didn't enjoy myself the entire time that I played it. I was just so bored by that. Um, and then for third party stuff, I played on the Switch. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, just because, that was that like game that was gone forever through licensing hell for like a decade. And by the time I got around to it, like the beat 'em up revival had gone so far past this game that like enemies are just such sponges in that game, and it sucks. It brings it down. Like even by the second level, like it takes a billion hits to kill anything. It was not optimized for single player gaming. Um, Shantae, I've tried to play Shantae. Everyone seems to talk up Shantae. I don't get it. It's like there's once again there's so much fucking dialogue. I mean I tried playing the later games. I didn't play the original, but like I'm sure having Metroidvania-ish elements with like a decent action platformer is cool with all this character they threw in there, but I just could not care less. And Sonic Mania. It's considered, probably the best 2D Sonic, and I think it's basically outside of nostalgia. I'm not a Sonic guy. Whether it's 2D or 3D, like I played it and I went, oh, all these levels are way too big. And I know the points to try and replay the levels and be able to make the crazy combos. And it's like, can I just have a game that I enjoy when I play it the first time? Like I get it's one of those games you have to replay to really get to enjoy it. It's like it eventually happened for me with Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So like I get it. I get it. But do I have to replay your fucking game to enjoy it? So that's just a stick in my craw. So yeah, those are my real big disappointments.
Nice. Now, obviously, overall,
Right. Any
regardless of
honorable
whether I
mentions? Anything that you're like, yeah, this is all right. Or did you even play enough to have any?
no, I mean, there was a number of games I got for Logan that see all my all rights would be games that also would have been played on other stuff like the Capcom and Castlevania collections. I really enjoyed them. Once again, I enjoyed them more on the Xbox. Uh, Minecraft, Fortnite, all the games that I was able to interact with Logan with. A part of me was like, I'll get the Switch will end up becoming his console. That was my grand plan. Like, hey, I'll pass this on to him. He'll get his own collection. Um, Fortunately, even him, he was like, why would I, why don't I just play it on the Xbox? It's better on the Xbox. And I'm like, but you can play it mobily. He's like, yeah, but I like it bigger on the screen and it controls better. I was like, fuck. Like I
Can't
can't
argue
even
this.
argue with him. I'm like, he's right. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't mind like Minecraft, Fortnite. Like I kind of liked the ability to play those. It was way rougher experiences, but for honorable mentions, like I always liked those kind of games. As I said, all the goofy little collections. There was a ton of little indie games I did download and play. Um, and actually that's what inspired me to start initially those cheap gamer videos like the $10 and unders because I was like getting crazy sales and I was wasting so much money on Switch games early on. But none that I would say like, oh my God, they stood out as like amazing games. It was just they were cool time wasters, is how I would describe them.
Right.
But I
Now
mean,
that you keep talking about the games Logan plays, did he ever play any like actual Nintendo games on his Switch? Did he ever get like exposed to that Nintendo magic?
well, he for a long time we kept going back to the NES games and he wanted to keep doing Super Mario Brothers and go through all those. Him and Mackenzie actually still loved doing that. Um it's a tough game regardless, but
Yeah.
I think the control definitely didn't help with the Switch. Um but that's what they love starting with. I kept trying to have them try other things. They just couldn't get over that gap at first. Part of now, unfortunately, I'm not doing it with the Switch, but like, now that I'm playing games with them, I'm trying to keep taking them back to like more classic Nintendo games. But I find like you can never teach our kids generation, like Super Mario 64 or original Mario Kart. Like you can't take them back on some of the first party things unless they're truly timeless. And the reality, unfortunately, is a lot of the games aren't. If you don't have nostalgia for them, I don't care what kid it is. You show him the original Legend of Zelda, they're like, "Fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Like that's not going to be a thing, right? So it's tough to show them classic Nintendo when
I'm
they
shocked you
know.
never I'm not to cut you off, but I'm shocked you never went with like tried to get him like a Mario Odyssey or 3D Land or shit like that.
I really wanted to, and part of me wanted to get it for him so I could play it. But he's just, yeah, like as much as he's into the movie and the original, he went through his Sonic phase, and I bought him whatever that 3D Sonic was. I brought him Sonic Racing. We tried all those, but unfortunately, I think he was still too young to really know how to do it. Like I'm gonna probably try to get him back to doing those. And if that takes off, then I'll probably start them back with like Mario Odyssey and all those as well.
Maybe try Mario Odyssey instead of Sonic Frontiers and play a game that's good.
That could be a thing. One problem with Nintendo is it is not kid or budget friendly because a game that's now fucking like a million years old should not still be $70. But
Oh, it's
that's
kid friendly.
Nintendo
It's
for
not
you.
parent friendly.
No, no, no. I'm saying, yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's not friendly to the kid because you're breaking your parents' bank account. But
Right.
yeah.
It's not the kid's problem.
But I mean, honestly, with the Switch, there's way more good to talk about, Chambers. And for me, my favorite things, the amount of time I put in Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and I just love going through that. I don't even, would you call it a story mode? Like a conquest
Yeah,
mode? I
it's
don't even know what yeah.
yeah, that Harbinger of Light mode or whatever that was. Like
Yeah.
I'll say like that's on my honorable mention just because I mean it's fucking Smash and I guess technically it probably is the best one. But yeah, that Harbinger of Light mode, it was good. I still think Smash Brawl and that their single player mode was the best they've ever done.
So I've never played that one. Um, so I don't, to me, this was the first time there was something close to story mode. I actually thought it was the weakest part of Smash Brothers, but I was like, it's cool. They're trying to offer something in there. You're doing these weird power ups, and I never beat it for sure. But the character selections, like you can get me so easily. Like go looking back, was it MK Armageddon? Um,
Yes, with the giant roster with everybody.
that was like holy fuck, or whatever version of MK3 that had the giant roster. that
Ultimate
I have for my
and Trilogy.
PlayStation Ultimate. Yeah, trilogy. Yeah, like the roster's obviously the best ever. I I am one of those believers that everything that's in a mainline first party Nintendo series, the last one is probably the best unless they totally fucked up the mechanics. So, I was just stoked to see like Trevor Belmont, Simon Belmont, or whoever, I think it's Trevor. That was my go-to character. Loved playing as him. Um,
I think Simon and
yeah,
Trevor were both in it, if I remember right.
yeah, they might have just been skin swaps of each other.
Hmm.
But I really enjoyed that. That's a game I played with Logan a decent amount, and I had fun trying to get him involved with that, and that's how I got him exposed to like a lot of characters, like who's this, Pikachu, this and this. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed doing that with him. Mario Kart, same deal. I enjoyed playing it myself. I was able to. There's some people at work that played it. Was able to play with them. Played with you. Like I'm not a diehard Mario Kart guy, but I always enjoy playing them. Like they are fun. Um, Super Metroid, love the shit out of that game. I finally had the chance to play through all the way because of Switch, so that's the only one that's not first party to it. And just in general, all those experiences I bring up here because I did have a lot of fun just gaming with Logan, and a lot of it were on simple things like the Mario Kart, like the Smash Brothers, like him and Kenzie, like going back and forth. So I really enjoyed my time with those. I wish I did that more, and that's one of those things I actually tried hard to find the Switch too, because I told you Logan tried setting up my Switch and it fell. So I can still use a third party controller, but unless I go out right now and get another third party controller, like I can't use it. I can't split up everyone doing Joy-Cons. So I have no real way of doing multiplayer right now unless I get more third party controllers, which I'm like, yeah, or do I just bite the bullet, find a Switch 2 and because everything I forget, are all games compatible backwards?
There are some compatibility issues. It's funny. In the Thought Cop Discord, this guy cool in there, he mentioned that Bill and Ted's excellent or bogus journey, the Bill and Ted collection that Limited Run put out doesn't work on the Switch. He thought like his Switch 2 was like dying as he put it in there. So there's some weird compatibility issues. I don't think there's probably that many first party, but I'd have to look into it. I know there's some.
Yeah, so that's a tough part because like now, especially summers here, like I'm gonna tell him like, hey, listen, I know all of his friends are on Minecraft and Fortnite and Roblox. I want him to play with that, but I also, yeah, I want him to try those type of games too. So, good memories. I think I'll end up probably be a system I'll still fuck around with, hoping one day that the prices of their first party games go down eventually. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I have a much more limited lifetime with this game, this system. So what about you, Chambers? What were some of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, the Switch hooked me. I was all in on the Switch. Absolutely loved it. It was my main console the last I think I got it in 2018 around my birthday because I got a bundle with Mario Kart and Fire Emblem Heroes. So basically, the Dynasty Warriors one with Fire Emblem characters on it. And what do you call it? So quickly, honorable mentions: Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I had a lot of fun with it. It turned out it eventually became a super cheap game. It's baby's first tactical strategy game, but it was a lot of fun for what it was. It was way better than it had any right to be. Uh, and a bunch of like third party shit on there. Like it was such a good console for fucking indie games. Like it was an amazing system just to be able to have this small game on the go with you. So like Horizon Chase Turbo, the Love Games, Blazing Chrome, which is like a Contra reboot from a couple years ago. Not a reboot, but it's what the next Contra game should have been that we never got. Metroid Dread. I really enjoyed Metroid Dread. I know a lot of people are kind of on it. I thought it was good. I guess it definitely shows its age in the entire, Metroidvania genre, but I think there's a little bit of beauty and simplicity there too. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it was great. It's just better Mario Kart 8. I already played Mario Kart 8 on the Wii, so I was like, oh, this is cool. and it's what I play with my daughter and wife, a decent amount, and when friends come over. So it's the standby. Starlink. I don't think Starlink ever got enough love. Of course, it got screwed over by coming out way too late in the piece of plastic on a pedestal kind of thing to put your toy in the game genre. And it died a quick death. But man, the Switch version came with Star Fox and Yarwing, and that's all I could have asked for. And that was honestly the best Star Fox game we've had since '64 because you had your own dialogue options with Star Fox. You had, a little bit of exclusive kind of stuff with him, and it controlled great. So it's a shame that that game just died on the vine as it did because I thought it was a lot of fun. But then, yeah, like the collections, like you were talking about, like the LS collection's great. GGLS 3 was like made for basically to emulate a Game Gear, and it was awesome. The Bloodstained games, all three of them were cool. Ninja Saviors, Return of the Warrior is awesome. Mushihime Sama, but to get into, oh, and also quick shout out to Corey of My Life in Gaming for including Bod Vice, Ninja Warriors, and Donut Dodo on his lists because I really enjoyed all those games a lot. So he's a man of taste. But finally, to my favorites. Um, Obviously, Tetris 99. Had to throw it on there. Uh, we all know my
I might
story.
have to put it on there just because I had to make you eat crow, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked you didn't do it for that reason alone.
I honestly forgot about it until you just said it right now. I was like, man, I guess I really didn't play much. And then, yeah, there's probably others now that I'm thinking about, but I'm gonna go with you on that one. But go ahead.
Yeah, and honorable mentions would have been to Mario 35 and the Pac-Man 99, but they're gone now. You can't play them, which sucks. But those were fun too. But Tetris, good old Tetris was the life and death of me, Brian, as we all know. Fucking what else we got here? Oh, Super Mario Party. That was the game that got my wife and I through the COVID lockdowns. We played so much goddamn Super Mario Party. It's just I like the game selection. I didn't hate the motion controlled games. A lot of people seem to. And eventually, when it got online, it was cool, so we could play with friends. Still during the course of lockdown. So, great package there. Shout out to Mario Jamboree, which my daughter loves to play with me. So, it's Mario Party. It's good for everybody.
So
Um,
I'm sorry, which is it just straight Super Mario Party on the Switch? Or is it
there's
what
three
was
of
the
them, Brian.
Super
There's Super
yeah.
Mario Party, then there's Mario Party Superstars, which was the greatest hits basically. It took a bunch from 1, 2, and 3 and upscaled them all and threw them into one package. And then
Okay.
there was Mario Party Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is the newest one, which is all original
So
stuff.
Super Mario Party is the actual one made for the Switch,
Super
aka the newest one.
No, no, no. Super Mario Party is the oldest one. Super Mario Party Jamboree is the newest one, which was also
So
made for the
then
Switch.
okay, but Mario Party Superstars took from the original first three games and just took their best events and kind of said, "Here you go."
Yeah, that's like a greatest hits. Yeah.
Okay. So is Jamboree better than the original Mario Party?
You know what? I guess technically because if you hate motion control, then you'll probably like Jamboree better. And it's got more content to it. And it's got more side quests. It's a better package, I'll say.
Hmm.
So
See,
if you're
these
gonna
are
get
games I might have to look into getting.
if you're gonna get one of them, I would say get Jamboree at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I think I add to my list.
There you go. One I know you won't be adding to your list is Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Link Evolution because I'm an old man. I love me some Yu-Gi-Oh! I get my hankerings. I'm never gonna buy packs again. I'm never gonna go to tournaments again. But the only guy I ever really played with, we see each other like once a year kind of deal. So when I need my Yu-Gi-Oh fix, it's perfect. It has every generation of Yu-Gi-Oh up to that point. It let me dick around with the insane metagame that's current, that's way too complicated for me. But as far as like anime love and tying into that and just being a perfect representation of the game. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a must-have basically. Uh Streets of Rage 4. Uh, it's up there with Streets of Rage 2 is my favorite beat 'em ups ever. I'll give this shout out. The honorable mention is Shredder's Revenge. Absolutely fantastic game. Did a great job with it. Final Vendetta, another fantastic one. If you really love beat 'em ups, go get that one too. But Streets of Rage 4 just hooked me. My God, did it hook me? That was like my most played game in 2020. Uh, XCOM 2, that game fucking there is no reason that that game should run as well as it does on the Switch. It cuts out a lot of the cutscenes. The load times can be a little long here and there. The textures are a little wonky, but they were wonky on the bigger systems too. But it plays perfectly. It's still my most played Switch game, and I haven't touched it in like a year and a half. As far as like putting hours into it goes, like that game took over my life for like a good 6 months. So, I mean, it's one of the best tactical games ever made. If you want it on the go, the Switch is a great option. And then finally, Super Mario Odyssey. Uh, you pick it up and it just feels like Super Mario 64. It's so familiar, but the hat gimmick is a lot of fun. All the levels are just so well crafted. Like that's a game that's just Nintendo magic through and through in that. I fell into a little thing where like I'd play it for a bit, put it down, and then pick it back up and then blast through the world I was in. Like I would have to take like a day or two break after starting a new world. But then once I did, I'll just blow through that world and go on to the next one. So
Hmm.
and then if you're, a psycho, hardcore completionist kind of guy, there's 700 some moons you can collect, and you have to do some crazy gameplay to get to those. So, yeah, there's something for everyone with that one. But yeah, those are probably all of my top picks as far as the Switch goes. Besides all the amazing collections and all the indie games that are out there, and all the repurposed friggin' Wii U games that are on there, since let's face it, no one has a Wii U, so you might as well jump in on all those remakes, even though charging full price was bullshit. But yeah, a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah.
Always,
No.
I mean, the Switch jumped to like probably my third, either my second or third favorite console. It's a top three for me.
Yeah. No. I mean, I can't deny this how special it is, and like I said, I it's for good reason. Convenience and fun always win out, Jim.
It,
So
it really does. And I mean, the Switch 2 isn't a powerhouse graphically, but it seems like they're really pushing for performance to be better, even though Cyberpunk apparently has problems. But like, if you have a giant open world in, say, Mario Kart Tour and it runs a constant 60 and sometimes up to 120 frames, it's like performance is always better than straight up graphics. So
yeah,
if they can do
and,
that with a
and
lot of other games, then it'll have a shot.
you would fool yourself into thinking the same amount of money they would put into like Mario Kart and ensuring that continues to run 60 frames at all times, they're going to do into adaptations of any other third party games. They're just not. And once again, don't your best case, you're at Xbox One level of performance. And that's not a knock. Like that's the thing. Like you don't buy Nintendo stuff to be like, look at it, it's a graphical powerhouse. Look at all no. It's not gonna run any Bethesda game at 60 frames a second. It's not gonna run any modern whatever. Like that's not why you buy it. You buy it for the first party games at the end of the day. Like that's let's be honest here. And that's always been enough. It's just a bonus that they can play these other games on the go. Until Sony, Xbox come up with a way to give you an ability to play their games on the go and perform the same, it's once again, it's just a bonus. So yeah, like I said, I've admitted I if I could get my hands on the Switch 2, I probably would have already. I'm not acting like I've tried very hard. I've just been looking up every website and I'm like, hey, let me see if they have
Apparently,
any
it's not that
availability.
hard to find. It's not like the old Switch. It's not like Xbox and PS5 were. So,
I mean, within a 50-mile radius of us, there's no Best Buy, GameStop, or Walmart that has it. So,
oh, well, shit.
unless online is lying, because when you call the stores, they all say if you're asking about Switch 2, online has a better inventory count than maybe some of the people there.
Hmm.
So, I've tried. If that is true, once again, I always take that with a grain of salt from who's saying it. It's probably Nintendo defenders. Like it's not hard to find. Eh, is it?
Eh. I know our buddy Nerdy Nick. He's been having a bitch of a time finding one. So,
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But cheers to the Switch. Amazing console. I hope Switch 2 does just as well.
and
With
thanks
that,
for the memories, you son of a bitch.
how was that first beer?
You know what? Very, very solid. If you like raspberry sours, you'll enjoy this one. I don't think it's a game changer in any way, but as far as these go, it was good.
It's
And
fine.
like I mentioned it a couple weeks ago when I went down to Cape May, this obscure brewery in general, all their shit's pretty good. So if you find your way down there, make a stop there. It's a small little, blink and you'll miss it kind of place, but go in there, stop in, get a couple flights. Honestly, all of the different flavors they had, pretty damn good.
Nice. Nice.
Right, how's your LaCroix?
Well, Jim, I got fancy. I went from a lime and I was like, let me switch it up to a lemon.
Oh, you're gonna be hurting tomorrow, Bry.
I mean, I'm going crazy, Jim. Just,
Right, if you
yeah,
mix them
it's
together, would you have had Sprite?
I actually kind of thought that, Chambers. Little hack, if you're someone who loves Sprite in your drinks, like alcoholic drinks, and you don't want the calories, you could go Sprite Zero, but then you're just drinking basically cancer shit. So instead, you could do LaCroix with it. I found that instead of Sprite or any type of soda with my gin, if I do my lime or lemon LaCroix with it, works perfect. So
Hmm.
it's a nice little substitute. Just saying. Oh, but with that, Chambers, and everyone listening and watching, thank you all so much for watching us, for supporting us. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure hit the notification bell, hit the like button, hit subscribe. And if you are listening on Podbean, iTunes, or Spotify, hit the subscribe button, leave us a 5-star rating, and if you do, we'll read each and every one of your comments on these Power Hour podcasts. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.